July 16, 1945. The desert of New Mexico. In the pre-dawn darkness, a group of scientists and soldiers stood waiting. The air was still, filled with a heavy silence. A collective breath held in anticipation. No one standing there could truly comprehend that within seconds. The very course of human history was about to be irrevocably altered. Then, it happened. A light, not just a light, but a searing, blinding brilliance. Brighter than 1,000 suns combined. It was so intense it turned the pitch-black night into an otherworldly day. In that surreal moment, one man stood silently, watching the dawn he had created. His name was J. Robert Oppenheimer, and as the monstrous, beautiful mushroom cloud climbed into the sky, a single thought echoed in his mind, a line from a sacred text he had studied years before. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." This was not a quote spoken with pride. It was not a boast or a celebration of power. It was a profound, chilling realization. Oppenheimer was more than just a brilliant physicist. He was a complex man, a reader of poetry, a student of philosophy. He was a man who had dedicated himself to learning Sanskrit so he could read the ancient Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, in its original form. For him, science was never just about numbers and equations. He understood, perhaps more than anyone, that science carried an immense, almost unbearable, responsibility. When the United States launched the top-secret atomic bomb project during the darkest days of World War II, the reasoning behind it was simple, direct, and terrifyingly logical. If we don't build this weapon, someone else will. Our enemies will. That stark logic led Oppenheimer to accept the monumental task of becoming the scientific director of the Manhattan Project. He gathered the brightest minds of his generation in the remote landscape of Los Alamos, a secret city built from scratch. But while the complex equations and engineering challenges moved forward with breathtaking speed, Oppenheimer's conscience moved right alongside them. Step 4, agonizing step. Then came the Trinity Test. A button was pressed. A chain reaction was initiated. A massive, churning fireball rose into the sky, painting the desert mountains in apocalyptic colors. The ground shook violently. The very air seemed to turn solid with the force of the shockwave. The reactions of those who witnessed it were varied. Some people laughed, a release of unbearable tension. Some cried, but most, like Oppenheimer, were simply silent, struck dumb by the sheer, awesome, terrible power they had just unleashed. In that profound silence, Oppenheimer understood something fundamental. Humanity had not just invented a new weapon, it had unlocked one of the most dangerous secrets of nature itself. This was not merely a successful experiment, it was a test of the very limits of humanity. It was a moment that posed a question we are still struggling to answer today. Just because we *and do something, does it mean we should *? Many people later misinterpreted Oppenheimer's famous words as an expression of godlike power or arrogance. They were anything but. In the context of the Bhagavad Gita, the line he recalled is not about a person's ego. It is about the manifestation of an absolute, cosmic force, a power so great that once it is revealed, it changes destiny itself. At that moment, watching the radioactive cloud bloom, Oppenheimer realized something had been done that could never be undone. Building the bomb was possible. Erasing its existence, its knowledge, and its terrifying potential was not. The story from the Gita that resonated so deeply with him involves the warrior prince, Arjuna. On the brink of a catastrophic battle against his own kinsmen, Arjuna hesitates. He is overcome with despair. He does not want to fight. He does not want to be the cause of so much destruction and death. Oppenheimer felt that same profound, internal conflict. He did not desire destruction. His goal had been to end a brutal war. But he knew, with a dreadful certainty, that there was no path backward from the knowledge they now possessed. Both the ancient warrior and the modern physicist faced the same timeless, agonizing question. Is fulfilling one's duty always the right thing to do? especially when the consequences are so devastating. This was the precise point where the cold logic of science collided head-on with the warm, messy, and often contradictory nature of human conscience. Just weeks later, when the atomic bombs fell on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the world witnessed the horrifying result of their work. Entire cities were erased from the map. Hundreds of thousands of lives were extinguished in a flash of light and a wave of heat. The world saw unprecedented devastation, but Oppenheimer saw something more. He saw a responsibility without end, a burden that he and his fellow scientists would have to carry for the rest of their lives. Years later, he would famously say, "The physicists had known sin." These were not the words of a villain glorying in his deeds, nor were they the words of a triumphant hero. They were the words of a deeply thoughtful human being who understood, with painful clarity, the true cost of knowledge. He had given humanity the power of the gods, and he would spend the rest of his life warning us of its dangers. Today, we are all living in the world that was born on that July morning in the New Mexico desert. We live in a world where a single button, a single decision, can still trigger unimaginable destruction. We have mastered immense, terrifying power. But the question that haunted Oppenheimer remains for us to answer. Have we mastered the wisdom to control it? This is not only Oppenheimer's story, it is our story. His words continue to echo through the decades, not as a threat, but as a solemn warning. The real challenge is not about what our science can achieve. The ultimate question is, and always will be, whether we are wise enough and compassionate enough to live with what we have created. Thank you for watching.